Good afternoon and welcome to RMU Live. Today's Monday, February 22nd. I'm Colby Sherwin.
And I'm Austin Bechtold. Here's what's happening now.
Yesterday, Pennsylvania had about 2,000 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the total number of COVID cases to around 915,000. There were also 44 new deaths, bringing the total number of deaths to 24,000 deaths.
PNC Park is typically visited by thousands of Pirate fans every season. But this winter, the park is welcoming locals 65 and older, including healthcare workers and high-risk individuals in the 1A category of vaccination. Around 3,500 shots were given of the COVID-19 vaccine on Sunday, which is 1,000 more than the last time at the PNC Park Clinic. An appointment must be made and you must have been pre-registered to be a part of the clinic. With the demand for the COVID-19 vaccine continuing to ramp up, UPMC has created a new website for people to register to receive a vaccine. Vaccinations remain in Phase 1A in Pennsylvania as there is still a limited amount of vaccines available. You can also be entered on a waiting list to receive your own dose. For those without internet access, you can call UPMC's 800 number between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m.
There were 3 cases of the new COVID-19 variant. They were reported on the West Virginia campus, West Virginia University. According to WVU officials, all 3 people are related to one another and did not visit campus during their infectious period. The school is working with the Monongahela County Health Department for case infection and contact tracing. The UK variant originated in that country and is believed to be more contagious than the original strain of COVID-19. 42 other states, including Pennsylvania, have reported cases of the strain. The variant disease. Experts predict this could become the more dominant strain in this country. According to the RMU COVID-19 dashboard, 10 students and 3 employees are in isolation. Also, 36 students and 1 employee are in quarantine. This brings the total number of COVID-19 cases since August 22nd to over 300. Individuals in isolation have tested positive for COVID-19. Individuals in quarantine have shown symptoms and are awaiting test results or have been exposed to an infected person. The number of people in isolation and quarantine include both those doing so in campus housing and off-campus housing, or in the case of the employees in their homes.
There's been some encouraging news regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. Trends of the potentially fatal virus are now falling, but health officials stress that the battle is far from over and to remind the public to remain vigilant. John Lorenick reports.
More than a year after the first known coronavirus-related death in the U.S., the country is about to reach a grim milestone.
It's nothing like we've ever been through in the last 102 years since the 1918 influenza pandemic.
The U.S. death toll from COVID-19 is expected to pass the 500,000 mark within the next few days, and the latest forecast from the University of Washington's Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation predicts another 91,000 COVID-19 deaths by June 1st.
And that's the reason why we keep insisting to continue with the public health measures, because we don't want this to get much worse than it already is.
In addition to masking and keeping distance from others, Americans are also advised to get COVID-19 vaccinations as soon as possible.
We have a real chance with these vaccines of turning COVID-19 from the deadly disease that it currently is into something like a bad cold or the flu if people are vaccinated.
According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, more than 18 million people in the U.S. are fully vaccinated.
That's what will give us back our lives and our economy and our kids getting back to school.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, the director of the Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, says mask wearing may still be necessary going into 2022.
The UPMC Event Center has been ranked by the Engineer Society of Western Pennsylvania for Project of the Year. It is up against SR19 reconstruction and Shaler Street bridge replacement, modernization of RIDC Mill 19, water and restoration, Clariton Water Westview Treatment Plant, the Dublin Link Securo River pedestrian bridge. Join the multicultural student services in celebrating Black History Month. Connected together events like Black Girls Still Rock, R&B Bingo, Netflix movie Daughter of the Boycott book discussion, and Kahoot game night occur almost every day in February.
The RMU Honors Roundtable hosted by Soren Fanning has been rescheduled to February 23rd due to inclement weather and a potential power outages that may be faced. The roundtable, dubbed Our Inner Barbarian, examining the societies of, quote, barbarian peoples, will remain from 3 to 4 p.m., and a link to join the call can be found on Revolution. The Robert Morris Center for Innovation and Outreach welcomes Christine Furtis, the former General Electric officer and CTO, on Friday, February 26. The Furtis will present to the group, quote, Innovation, Success, and Failure, Lessons Learned, end quote. The event from 2 to 3 p.m. can be attended by emailing Rita Carlson at rmu.edu and accessing the registration link. Now we're going to send it over to Nathan Breisinger, who's over in our sports desk. Nate.
Thanks, Austin. With the tournament season coming up for winter sports along with spring schedules starting, things are getting extremely busy for RMU athletics. 9 teams were in action over the past week. Let's start on the hardwood, as both the men's and women's basketball teams were on the road for their final games of the regular season. The men's team traveled to take on Detroit Mercy. Nothing changed for the Colonials as they dropped both matchups, losing 11 of their final 12 games. Charles Bain led the team with double-digit points in both affairs. RMU will take on Detroit Mercy in the first round of the Horizon League tournament on Thursday at 7 p.m. For the women's basketball team, they close out their regular season by splitting their 2-game set with Purdue Fort Wayne. The Colonials fell to the winless Mastodons in game 1, 71-67, even with a 22-point performance from freshman Mackenzie Amelia. Then RMU closed out their regular season with a 77-63 win. The women's team opens up their tournament play against Northern Kentucky on Thursday as well. Let's transition onto the ice. The men's hockey team was also away, this time in Rochester. The Colonials dropped both of their contests to RIT 6-1 and 4-3 respectively. RMU now sits at 10-5-1 in conference play as they finish off their regular season against Mercyhurst on Thursday at home. The women's hockey team took on non-conference opponent at home Sacred Heart this weekend. The Colonials took care of business, winning 1-0 on Friday, even with a 72-save performance from Pioneers netminder Frankie Sanchez. And then they won on Senior Day on Sunday, 8-0. On Sunday, it was a junior, however, and Michaela Boyle that stole the show with 4 goals. Moving on to Joe Walton Stadium. Both lacrosse teams were also in action this weekend. Let's start with the men's team as they were actually on the road and as they won their first game of the season for them. Ryan Smith put up 5 goals to lead RMU in the win. For the women's team, they opened up play at home against Liberty. Mackenzie Gandy's 3 points tied the program's all-time point record while helping RMU to a 9-8 victory. Looking back at last week, the women's soccer team also got into the win column for the first time this year with a 3-0 win over St. Francis. The men's team is also seeking their first win today against Green Bay. Volleyball will also be in action as well today, also searching for their first victory of the season after falling to 0-6 on the year. Lots of action going on this week in RMU athletics. Now let's send it back over to the desk.
Thank you, Nate. It's going to be a very busy CSC this Thursday at 9:30. Despite outcry from local drivers, PennDOT has announced plans to begin tolling 9 Pennsylvania bridges, including I-79 in Bridgeville. PennDOT is facing an $8 billion deficit and is also dealing with down gas tax revenues, with people driving less and driving more efficient cars. PennDOT says that the toll rates will be about $1 to $2 and will help fund maintenance to the I-79 main line over Route 60 and expand the road lanes from 2 to 3 lanes in each direction. The 9 toll bridges will raise over $2 billion and create new jobs as well.
Well, it was a rainy one today, and John Blinn was outside to tell us about the weather. John?
So thank you, Colby and Austin. And just to get started, you can see some residue left over from last week's punch from winter. And you know, we're still getting a black eye from that fight that we had with Mother Nature last week, as we can see some wintry precipitation coming down today. And it's feeling pretty cold out here with the wind. However, the temperatures for today forecast show otherwise, with that high only being 39 degrees and the low being 30 degrees. As you can see, that chance of precipitation, 84%, is being achieved right now. The hourly forecast, however, continues to show those warm temperatures throughout the day. 3 p.m., 40 degrees Fahrenheit, dropping only to 33 degrees Fahrenheit tonight at 9 p.m. Moving forward to tomorrow's forecast, you can see the chance of precipitation start to die down a little bit. It's looking like it's going to be a coin toss, only 50% for that. However, the temperature is going to shoot up to 40 degrees a little bit, and 24 degrees is going to be the low. So you have a lot of a range there. Could be a nice warm day, could be a really chilly day. It really depends on that precipitation chance there. So we'll be back in the weather forecast later today to take a full look at this week's weather. We'll send it back to the guys.
Thank you, John. Some of the warmer weather now starting to turn that snow into rain, Colby.
Well, when we come back, we'll have more Pittsburgh news for you here on RMU Live.
Hey, Dad, I need your help asking Jessica to prom.
Of course. Love is like the ocean. You have to tread the
Oh,
waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Hey, Jessica. Will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. This guy, no, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look! Welcome back to RMU Live. A man has died after being shot in the head a little after 9 o'clock Sunday night in the Strip District. Officers went to Penn Avenue and found the victim in critical condition, but he died shortly after paramedics rushed him to the hospital. The man's name has not been released as Pittsburgh police continue to investigate the cause of the shooting.
William Ice, a man in Arkansas was charged for sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl. He was found dead in Sears Sunday afternoon after a police chase. In addition to his charge in Pennsylvania for the sexual assault, he was charged for abducting a 14-year-old girl in North Carolina. Marquise Deviant Perkins, a 25-year-old man, is wanted by Pennsylvania State Police after they say he shot and killed a man in Uniontown on the 300 block of Grandview Avenue, Union Township. The altercation happened on February 16th. Uniontown police initially responded and found Lamar Johnson, 32, of Newcastle dead outside a home with a gunshot wound. State police responded and throughout the investigation, Perkins was identified as the suspect.
Police have arrested a second suspect connected to sexual assaults against, quote, numerous children, toddlers, and infants, end quote. Sidney Brooks has been identified as a conspirator with Devontae Law to sexually assault numerous children and record their lewd acts as well. Law was taken to prison in January on incest, involuntary deviant sexual intercourse, rape, and other charges. Brooks faces 38 total felony charges in correlation to the sexual assaults. Pittsburgh Police Commander Jason Lando has agreed to become chief in Frederick, Maryland. Lando served the force for almost 21 years in Pittsburgh, rising to the ranks of commander. Lando was the commanding officer during the Tree of Life shooting in 2018. Pittsburgh Police Chief Scott Schubert reached out to Lando to congratulate him on his new role in Frederick.
The Supreme Court has thrown out the last attempt by former President Donald Trump to keep his financial records from the public. The case connected also a subpoena to Mr. Trump's accountant. Under grand jury secretary rules, it would be ordinarily would be unclear when and if the public would see the information. But the New York Times has obtained more than 2 decades of tax return data of Mr. Trump and his companies. A Pennsylvania police officer is facing federal charges after streaming from the January 6th assault on the U.S. Capitol by supporters of the former President Donald Trump. Over the results of the 2020 election, North Commonwealth Township officer Joseph Fisher, listed as a patrolman on the department's site, is charged with obstruction of law enforcement during a civil disorder, entering a restricted building, violent and entry, disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds, and obscuring justice. Of authorities say Fisher said on Facebook that, quote, "My new job has a new job but has no regards because they may be the price," end quote. "I have to pay my voice of freedom and liberties, which I was born with and thusly taken away."
President Biden is continuing to roll back on former President Trump's policies. Now presenting on the world stage. Biden virtually attended the Munich Security Conference Wednesday and a G7 session from the White House. As CNN's Alexander Marquardt reports Biden's message.
America's back.
It might have been virtual, but Biden's first return to the world stage was no less of a seismic shift for U.S. foreign policy.
America is back. The transatlantic alliance is back. And we are not looking backward. We are looking forward together.
In a speech alongside the leaders of France, Germany, and Britain, Biden vowed to re-engage with Europe to confront the rise of China, Russia's bullying, and the threat to democracy around the world.
Democracy doesn't happen by accident. We have to defend it, fight for it, strengthen it, renew it.
Biden's first visit to an agency as president was at the State Department, a clear signal that he plans to reverse or dramatically change course from Donald Trump's inward-looking, self-centered approach.
From this day forward, it's going to be only America first. America first.
America and alliances are our greatest asset. And leading with diplomacy means standing shoulder to shoulder with our allies.
One of Trump's first moves was to pull the U.S. out of the Iran nuclear deal and impose the so-called maximum pressure campaign. Now, the Biden administration says it's relieving some of those sanctions and is again ready to talk.
This was a horrible, one-sided deal that should have never, ever been made. It didn't bring calm, it didn't bring peace, and it never will.
The threat of nuclear proliferation also continues to require careful diplomacy and cooperation among us. We need transparency and communication to minimize the risk of strategic misunderstanding or mistakes.
Today, the U.S. officially re-entered the Paris Climate Accord, which Trump had withdrawn from and repeatedly criticized.
I was elected to represent the citizens of Pittsburgh, not Paris.
Together, we need to invest in the technological innovations that are going to power our clean energy futures, enable us to build clean energy solutions to global markets.
Among other issues that Biden turned the page on, he took Russia to task for its cyberspace activities. He voiced support for NATO and its system of collective defense, and he's putting the brakes on a U.S. troop withdrawal from Germany, which Trump requested.
Coming up, we will take a break from politics and catch up on the latest sports. Stay tuned here with RMU Live.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? And now she's like, yeah! you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Jason, let's go see your room.
No, that's not right. How was it? Is it good?
Things could be stranger, but I don't know how. I'm going through changes now. Could spend a lifetime trying to figure it out. I'm going through changes, through all of the strangeness. I'm going through changes now.
Sticking with the theme of the past few weeks, the Pittsburgh Penguins have been the hot topic within the city, whether it's good or bad. This time around, they are on the positive side as they have won their past 4 out of 6 games. The biggest storyline, however, came on Saturday when the Penguins celebrated Sidney Crosby's 1,000th game. Crosby was honored with a mosaic of himself and a silver stick presented by longtime teammates Evgeny Malkin and Chris Letang. The organization also played a tribute on the video board showcasing some of his biggest moments as a Penguin and several messages from loved ones and other well-known players from around the NHL. Crosby has become one of the most iconic figures in Pittsburgh sports history after winning 3 Stanley Cups along with 2 Conn Smythes. Crosby is the only player in Penn's history to reach 1,000 games. Taking the momentum into the contest from the pregame ceremony, the Pens outlasted the New York Islanders to win it 3-2. While it was Sidney Crosby Day, the defense helped lift the Pens over the Islanders with the blue line providing all 3 goals. Also over the weekend, the NHL showed off its new spectacle at picturesque Lake Tahoe with the Outdoor Weekend Series. The first game, however, experienced some hiccups as the playing surface became too soft and began to melt from the sun. The game was postponed until later that evening, with Period 2 commencing at midnight on the East Coast between the Colorado Avalanche and the Vegas Golden Knights. The Avalanche were able to defeat the Vegas Golden Knights on day 1 by a final of 3-2. On the following day, the Philadelphia Flyers took on the Boston Bruins. It was the Bruins that showcased their firepower, winning it 7-3. The NHL was put on display with this weekend's lineup, and they succeeded to bring a different perspective for all hockey fans. In other news, it was a good sight for baseball fans as pitchers and catchers reported last Wednesday for spring training. The Pittsburgh Pirates are set to begin spring training contests with Baltimore on the 28th of this month. Lots of good signs in the sports world over the past few weeks. Now let's send it back over to the desk.
Thank you, Nate. And speaking of Sidney, after 5,684 days since being drafted first overall by the Penguins in the 2005 NHL Draft, Sidney Crosby indeed played his 1,000th career game on Saturday against the New York Islanders. Mayor Bill Peduto marked the occasion by dedicating February 20th, 2021 as Sidney Crosby Day in the city of Pittsburgh. Crosby became the first Penguin to play 1,000 consecutive games, as Nate mentioned, as a member of the organization. The 16-year superstar has guided the Penguins to 3 Stanley Cups and has won 2 league MVP trophies.
Icy road conditions caused a tractor trailer to flip on its side in Moon Township. Office RS arrived at the scene to clean the accident at around 11 a.m. on Friday. The truck flipped over onto a bridge during a turn onto Stoops Ferry Road from Moon Clinton Road. Moon Township officials had the mess cleaned up by around 4:30. No one has been injured. No reports were being injured. When we come back, we'll have the Health Minute for you here on RMU Live.
Roll over. Chance high five. All right.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique.
And your mother and... I am totally a hot person. Right, guys? Thanks for being honest.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What?
I can't drive.
What? My. Oh.
STEM is precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to learn the difference between sedimentary and metamorphic rock. Go find those rocks. Dare to keep daring. Dare to STEM. Check out She Can STEM to get started.
Welcome back to RMU Live. With extreme weather still gripping parts of the U.S., officials are sending out warnings. COVID-19 vaccine shipments and deliverers are being delayed. And with more than 2,000 vaccines still located in areas with power outages, Manny Gaither explains what that means for you in today's Health Minute.
Across the central and southern plains, snow and record low temperatures continue to plague Americans. The extreme weather's also impacting parts of the country not directly affected by the storms by causing delays in COVID-19 vaccine shipments and deliveries.
Obviously, it's an issue. It's been slowed down in some places, going to a grinding halt.
The weather could impact vaccine deliveries for the next 1 to 2 weeks, according to the CEO of an organization serving local health departments across the U.S. But the White House says they're doing everything they can to speed up the process.
We're also working with our partners to move up scheduled deliveries whenever possible and to surge shipment operations through the end of the week into the weekend. We're in conversation about extended hours and additional appointments to try and reschedule shots given the storm.
This map from FEMA shows states that have reported COVID-19 vaccination site closures due to the weather. They'll reschedule appointments once the storms have passed. The states in green aren't reporting any issues, but FEMA says the states highlighted in yellow are experiencing limited impact.
We're going to just have to make up for it, namely do double time when this thing clears up.
UPS says it has extensive contingency plans to complete vaccine deliveries, and drivers are still making deliveries and pickups where conditions allow them to stay safe. FedEx says vaccine deliveries are getting priority, but the weather is impacting much of their network. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Thanks, Mandy.
Now we'll turn it over to John Blinn out in the elements in the rain to give us.
Thanks again, guys. And looking again now at tomorrow's forecast, just to reiterate what we talked about earlier, you do have a wide range for temperatures tomorrow with a high of 40 degrees and a potential low of 24 degrees. And it may continue to rain like this tomorrow with the chance of precipitation being 50%. However, as we look at the 5-day forecast, we are seeing some hopeful changes throughout the beginning of the earlier part of the week. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday all looking like they could potentially be relatively warm. Wednesday even at 50 degrees, and we can see the sun poking up out of those clouds for all 3 of those days. However, that may come to an end during the weekend as we're seeing some rain coming in on Saturday and Sunday. 49 degrees for the high for both of those days. So we're hoping to see an end to this wintry mix, and maybe we'll start seeing some sun as the week goes by. Thank you. We're going to send it back to the guys to finish out the show.
Thank you, John Blinn. What a crazy year to start 2021 that the weather's been, Colby. It's been absolutely insane and just completely unpredictable.
Yeah, the one thing I think about is like Texas. They were having blizzards and it was like negative, like it was really cold in
Pipes
Texas.
are freezing. They don't have power. It's a
weird time.
It's crazy what's going on right now in the world in terms of the weather, but it's been one of the snowiest winters in Pittsburgh ever.
Really?
At least in recent memory. But, Colby, that's all the time we have here on RMU Live. For John Blinn, Nathan Breisinger, and Colby Sherwin, I am Austin Bechtold, and we will see you next Monday.